City Commission Planning and Information Session is now called to order. At this time, we look to our Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Pro Tem Shanita Bennett will call for our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will have Pastor Williams to come on behalf of Mr. Milton and Southview Funeral Home to do the invocation for us.
Let us all bow our heads. Father God, we come in this time in presence. God, you're such a kind God and understanding. And Lord, as we commission your divine hand to be upon our mayor, these city commissioners that follows God, and Lord, for the protection of our city, God, we thank you, Lord, for the work, for the hands that they put forth to keep this city safe, keep it under proper protection, Lord, and even our law enforcement. God, we thank you right now, Lord, and as we continue to give you praise for the work that they have established here, even our city manager, God, you've been such a kind God. Mm-hmm. And we ask you, God, just continue to wrap thy arms around these city officials, God. Yes, and most of God, continue to give our mayor the wisdom to continue to lead and continue to guide them in the most respectable and honorable way where it's pleasing, acceptable in thy sight. And Lord, last but not least, Lord, look on our attorney, the one that has been selected to follow thereafter. God, attorney, Mr. Huey Spearman. Mm-hmm. And Lord God, by your grace and by your divine mercy, we depart from this prayer this evening, but never from your presence, God. Please, sir, Lord, just continue to cover them as they take their busy walk through the city to keep it as blessed as well as it is for this coming years and the years to come. We continue to give you praise in Jesus' mighty name. And every given heart declare it by the saying of amen, 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 and amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We thank Reverend Williams, and we also thank our Mayor Pro Tem for calling for our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. We now look to our city clerk to identify if we have any guests tonight.
Yes, sir, we do. We have three.
Three guests.
Yes, sir. The first guest is Travis Smith. Mr. Smith, if you'll step to the podium and please state your name and address for the record. Mr. Smith is here on the subject of First Friday events and noise ordinance.
Okay.
How y'all doing? I'm Travis Smith.
How you doing?
Address is 1310 Washington Avenue in Waycross. I have a business on Oak Street, which is where we conduct every first Friday of the month, in order to transform that area into a family environment. There's new businesses that has opened up on Oak Street, and we as business owners up there are striving to turn it into something different than what Oak Street is known for. Again, First Friday is an event where we get as many vendors and as far as food vendors, just merchants, and then people to come in to bring stuff for the kids to make it a kid-friendly environment. But we're having a problem with getting it for 2 days. And from what I've been told, it's been because of a noise ordinance issue, which our event only goes from 4 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. on Fridays, and we're trying to get it from 10 o'clock a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. on Saturdays, but we're being told we can't because of noise ordinance, which doesn't start till 10 o'clock. And we're usually closed, maybe are done with our event an hour earlier than what we schedule it for, so it never goes up until the beginning of the noise ordinance. That's all I pretty much have to say.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next, Mr. Mayor, we have Mr. Tim Peacock. If you would step to the podium, state your name and address. Mr. Peacock is here speaking on the ordinance decorum.
Tim Peacock, 906 Euclid Avenue. Mayor, Commissioners, I reckon this is just between me and you, Mr. Mayor. We go full bore around here most of the time about how the decorum should be laid out. And I've had a lot of grumblings from citizens and all around town about a lot of racial remarks being made during the remarks on the city website, calling out citizens because they ask questions about things going on in the city. And I just don't think that's the time or the place to be doing that. Second, we're not ever supposed to bring up anything political in here during this time. And we had a rant about a sitting president that went on and on about the statue the other day. And there was a question about what happened with the statue and the last time, and when it went to court last time, the judge threw it out. And that same thing's been brought up again. We got more grumblings about disparaging posts being put on candidates' Facebook pages during work hours coming out of City Hall up here. And all it's doing is just causing a divide between people. And it's a shame that we have got to that point, that we've just, I don't know, if we're losing sight of what we want to do as a city here. We're trying to split it right down the middle, looks like to me. And we just can't have that. We've already got a lot of litigation going on of what's happening up here in the city. And it's a shame that we've got all this going on to add to that. We've got $2 million being put out for different projects, $10 million put out for different projects, and we have no idea what we got that money going to. And we don't talk about it. It's stuff that's talked about behind closed doors somewhere. And I thought everything that was in the decorum should be brought up in this meeting.
Let me pause you for a moment. The statement you made was about decorum. Decorum deals with our meeting.
Yeah.
And the decorum is read during the second meeting of the week, which is our commission meeting. This is a work session, so decorum is normally not read in this particular meeting. But what you're saying now is beyond my meeting. This is beyond the meeting that I oversee. You're talking about Facebook and various other things that have nothing to do with the meeting. And you may mention that this was to me, so I want to make certain that you are aware that this is not within the confines or within the auspices of this particular meeting. So I'm going to look to our attorney to respond to you after you finish. And since I've paused you, and I don't know how many minutes you had at that time.
Council.
So that was it? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what I want to make sure is that we're clear and that the committee and the community is clear. Most times when you have a meeting with me, you're going to follow the decorum. The reason why that's going to be the case is because every meeting is served by what we use as Robert's Rules of Order and Parliamentary Procedures. That is what the city has adopted. However, when someone goes outside of, say for instance, a meeting and do something, that has nothing to do with decorum. So I'm going to look to the city's attorney. I know he's heard several things that have been stated in your comments, and then we'll respond to that. But I appreciate your comments. But as she said, your time was finished. But I want to kind of give you a chance to respond to this, so that those who are listening will know fully what we're discussing.
Mr. Peacock mentioned when he first started talking that he wanted to talk about the decorum ordinance. and you addressed it in your comments just now, that the decorum ordinance has to do with the procedures that are observed at this particular, well, at a city hall meeting when we have a regular meeting. And as you said, it is read by the clerk with respect to time limitations and the matter to be addressed. The ordinance for decorum does not deal with anything outside of the meeting, such as what might be posted on Facebook or other social media. So to that extent, that is beyond the control of this body as to what people may put on Facebook on their own time or other social media.
And there was another statement that I believe was made just a few moments ago, and it was about a discussion on something that the commission prior to this commission made regarding monuments. I think this commission had a comment made, and I thought it was brought to us for the purpose of making another decision, but I don't know how fully that panned out. But did you want to make comments regarding that as well?
Regarding the monument?
Yes.
Okay. Well, at the last meeting where that topic came up, I was at a loss for not knowing what the history of the litigation was. But I have since done some research and have discovered that back in 2021, the City Commission passed a resolution authorizing the city attorney to prepare a letter for the mayor to sign. The letter was directed to the Sons of Confederate Veterans, asking them to remove the monument from Phoenix Park. That letter apparently was sent, and as a result of that, the Sons of Confederate Veterans filed a petition for an injunction against the city of Waycross, asking the court to enjoin the city from forcing removal of that monument. That petition was responded to by the city of Waycross, along with a motion to dismiss the petition. That was a hearing in court, and the court decided that the petition would be dismissed because the resolution that was passed by the city provided that in the event the Sons of Confederate Veterans did not remove the monument, the city would consider a future resolution for litigation regarding the removal. So in that sense, there was no immediate threat to the Sons of Confederate Veterans, which is what you have to demonstrate if you file a petition for an injunction. You have to show that there's immediate harm or something is about to happen, and the extraordinary powers of the court are necessary to prevent that something from happening. But the judge looked at the resolution and said, well, the resolution said that there would be a future resolution or future consideration for litigation by the city in the event that initial letter was not adhered to. So in that sense, it was speculative. There was no immediate threat to the organization. So the court did, in fact, dismiss that petition for an injunction. Now, there has been some theory that the city at some point in the past accepted the monument as a gift. There's no record of that as I'm aware of. I also received a phone call after that last meeting from an attorney up in Marietta, Georgia, from a Mr. Martin O'Toole. He called me on April 17th and said to me that the theory of the argument made by the Sons of Confederate Veterans was that the city owns the monument by adverse possession. And I'm not really sure that adverse possession applies here. Adverse possession is a real property concept that says if you take possession of someone else's property for a continuous period of 20 years, openly, notoriously, and against the will of the true owner, then at the end of that 20 years, you can actually go to court and have the court declare that you now own it. A more classic situation would be if you have a fence that you put up on your neighbor's property, and you take, say, 10 foot of your neighbor's property, and you put up a fence, and you mow the grass and plant a garden, or you do whatever to indicate that you own that additional 10 feet, and you do that for a continuous period of 20 years, and you're not made to take your fence down, you can own that property by adverse possession. But it requires some affirmative act on your part to have a court declare that you own it by adverse possession, and it has to be against the true will of the will of the true owner. Applying that to the context of these Confederate monuments, I don't know how that would operate in this case, because I don't think the city ever said we claim that we own this 20 years ago, and 20 years later now it's our property. I don't think that happened, nor was there any gift of the property that was accepted by the city. And I think Mr. O'Toole was going to send an open records request to have the clerk search the minutes from 2021 going forward to see if there was any resolution or minutes that would address whether or not the city was accepting the monuments as a gift. And the clerk informs me today that she has not received that open records request. And I seriously doubt that there is anything like that in the city's records. And the reason why all of this is important is because in 2019, the Monument Protection Act was passed in Georgia, which said that public monuments on public property cannot be moved. Private monuments on private property cannot be moved. But the Monument Protection Act does not protect private monuments on public property. And in order to have the city in a position of having to be forced to not to be able to remove that monument, the plaintiffs would have to show that this monument is no longer a private monument, but that it is a public monument because the city received it as a gift, or the city adversely possessed it under the 20-year adverse possession statute. So in the absence of that kind of evidence, it remains a private monument on public property, which is a category that is not covered by the Monument Protection Act. So at this juncture, the city would have to decide whether you want to adopt another resolution that would actually authorize litigation to move it, because that would be the next step based upon the resolution that was passed in 2021.
Very good.
So we're back to square one.
And that's what I was understanding of. You basically talk about like the law of acquiescence, where someone walks back and forth on your property and you never stop them, so they make a pathway there. And then once that path has been made after a period of time, you can't say that it's private property anymore. Now it becomes public domain, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm concerned that when we have this conversation, that the commission that sits with me now was not the commission, and not one of the persons sitting with me now was here when that resolution was written and or voted on. And the day that I went into the court, that was not about him dismissing the resolution. It was him dismissing the injunction that was set against the city of Waycross.
Yes.
Because the goal there was to make us keep or leave them alone, basically, is what the statement was. And I do understand from that day forward, there has not been any more conversation until just most recently. And then as that conversation came up, this commission was made aware of the last meeting that we had regarding the canon and the monument. Okay. So I hope there's clarity for Mr. Peacock, because we want to make sure you understand that decorum only deals with our meeting. It has nothing to do with we can't tell a person that they don't have a First Amendment right when one person says something against another person or against something that maybe they want to respond to. They can respond. That's their First Amendment right. They can work here and still be respondents. So I don't think, and you want to speak to that as well, Mr. Attorney.
About the First Amendment right?
Right. If they want to respond on a social media platform or any other thing of that sort, are they limited because they're here?
No. A person does not lose his or her First Amendment right because of their employment. The First Amendment guarantees every citizen the right to express themselves, whether it's on social media or in person or by letter. That right cannot be infringed upon by any other person.
And Ms. Mayor, if I can, our social media policy is they cannot speak on bad on the city. So, and we don't have a daytime policy. I encourage our workforce to be on social media to respond to citizens' wants and needs and requirements. I'm on there pretty much the whole day responding to information. So we don't have a daytime policy that might be similar to like a school or something of that nature. So make that clear as well, because that's part of the argument as well.
Okay. And that was a statement I was asking regarding, because I do want to know or make note to community persons if they write things and other people respond to it, is they're not bound to hold their hands in their laps and read
Correct.
and just let it be. They can respond however they choose. And the other piece there that was stated by Mr. Peacock was something about campaigning. Campaigning has not, well, campaigning can begin, but qualifying has not. Therefore, that does not fall within the scope of candidacy, does it?
No, qualifying doesn't start until the third week in August for the upcoming election. So no one is a candidate at this juncture. Someone may announce early that they intend to be a candidate, which is fine, but no one is a candidate until they qualify.
Okay. And that clears up a few things that we've just previously stated. The reason we want to make sure that's clear, so no one will feel that someone's being taken advantage of. Madam Clerk, we have one more.
Yes, her name is Crystal Scott. Ms. Scott, if you'll come and take the podium, please state your name and address for the record. She is here to speak on inspections.
Inspections, okay.
Hi, my name is Crystal Scott of 204 Gilmore Street, and I have invested in this city buying homes to fix up and provide housing for the community. But I'm having a hard time with the inspector passing my inspections and pulling permits. I purchased 4 homes to fix and flip or rent out in 2023 after I sold my house in hopes to rebuild up the community. I had plans on fixing each one house by house, but as I am trying to fix them, I am being held up by the inspector. I get a vacancy inspection so I know all the things that need to be addressed to make my homes livable. Then I pull permits in order to do so with licensed contractors, electricians, and plumbers. Once I'm ready for the first inspection, I have them call in for it. I allow the inspector to address my issues and problems with the work so I can continue to finish the house. I get the update of things that need to be addressed and I fix those things immediately. But on the next call, I'm expecting those issues to be addressed so I can move on to the next phase. But what keeps occurring is a whole new list of issues are coming up that weren't addressed to be fixed initially. I don't think that a house should have to fail 9 times to be able to pass an inspection. Each time he comes out, he is making a new list about the same department as far as plumbing, electrical, or construction. I'll ask, is this everything that needs to be addressed? He'll assure me it is, but then come to find new things just to fail that inspection, or at least that's what it feels like. I've spoken to multiple different people about the issue I have been experiencing, and they're experiencing the same thing. People are losing motivation to fix their homes due to the inspector not allowing them to pass. It should not take a year later and 9 failed inspections when we're doing everything that is asked to be done with licensed contractors to get the job done. It's very frustrating to think that you're at the end, but to keep getting started back to square one. Everyone is holding back speaking out because they feel like there will be retaliation from the inspector because they know he has to be the one to finally pass their inspections. But we don't think it's right that one harsh decision-making person with no remorse or morals controls the fate of everyone who has put their hard-earned money and efforts towards rebuilding their homes, their community, and their city. We understand he has a job to do, but there's a difference between doing your job and power tripping. We as the citizens helping rebuild our community have a mission to complete as well. We can't both be speaking on building our community, but on one end, the citizens are doing everything they're being told, and on the other end, the inspector is making rules arbitrarily without any proper authority or justification. Water, electricity, and gas are not being turned on or is being turned off. Homes are becoming dilapidated and placed on demolition lists because funds have run out due to a faulty system. I was told things like, your licensed contractor should have known this issue was here when he inspected his work. But at the same time, that's deceptive when you didn't list those things or issues for him to address. He's usually addressing the issues that are addressed because he's told what's wrong. If in fact he sees other issues that were discussed or addressed by the inspector.
Ms. Scott, thank you.
Thank you.
Your minutes are up. Okay. Any further?
No, sir.
Okay. So this is how this works. Generally, when the timer goes off, that means your time is up, even though you're responding or you are either giving your statement. And what we do is document what you've said so that we can address the issue, because there seems to be a concern. And anytime there is a concern, the city manager hears about it, then he's going to make certain that he addresses it through another avenue. And I believe that one of the things that has been done already, if you want to speak to that, they have had a list that's been created that goes out to each person, and that list should be given to the person who's going to be dealing with those homes. Would you share with us?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So a few things. I did meet with the family today, this couple today, and I understand some of their challenges and many other citizens' challenges. They are operating on our old inspection list, like you mentioned, and we do have a new inspection list that we got to incorporate moving forward. They did identify some areas of concern that we're still working on, and that's about just getting modernized with our technology. Additionally, we only had, because Mark was by himself, we only had one inspector for the last 6 months, and that was a challenge with the inspection. So we're on that. We are training 2 new inspectors within the workforce already. I briefed a while back. That will prevent all of these missed inspections, failed inspections, not failed inspections, but missed inspections, and timeliness. So I'm going to work with this couple and a few more couples, business owners that came into town with similar concerns and figure out a better solution. One thing I will add, not necessarily to this couple, but just anybody coming to the city, if they could please stop by the city first before they buy these properties and get a real sense of what they're getting into, because in some cases, it's going to be a long period of time because the home is fairly old and it's a lot of work that's going to be required. Not because Mark is being unfair, it's a lot of work required, and had they known that, they might make a different decision on the homes that they purchase. Not trying to make that negative, we just want to make sure everybody understands what they're committing to once they come to the city of Waycross. But I have talked to this family. We're going to meet again, I think, Friday, and look at the other properties and kind of figure out a better way forward.
Okay. Very good. And we want to thank those who've come tonight to make their presentations as guests, Mr. Smith, Mr. Peacock, and Ms. Scott. Thank you very much. At this time, we look to our city manager, who will now take the remainder of our program or our information session forward.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, we have no travel and training scheduled or requests for the commission or myself. We'll go ahead into the planning information session, and I will start that.
I have a question before we get into. I have a question before we get into the discussion.
Okay. There's a question from Commissioner Felder.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. City Manager, as I review the items to be discussed on the list here, I emailed you well in advance regarding some discussion items I want to add it to this agenda, and I don't see those items on here. Could you please explain why those items were not added?
I'm not. When did you email me, Commissioner?
Excuse me?
You emailed me when? When did you email me?
I emailed you well in advance. It was over 2 weeks.
Okay.
Regarding some items I wanted, and this is not the first time that I've emailed you in advance requesting certain items to be on the agenda for the work session, and they never made it.
Ms. Miller, we need to get into this. I can repeat the emails. We need to get into this right now because I don't see an
Right,
email.
go ahead
Okay.
with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
we'll pull, you get your email up, and then we can address what she has brought
Okay.
before us, okay?
Yeah.
And we can make sure it comes to the list.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, the vision and the mission remain the same. And I'll let that stay for a while. We have new citizens here. These are the priorities of the city. The priorities further broken down by bins. City plan, Mr. Mayor.
That's clearer.
Oh, we're working on the color
Thank
scheme.
you.
Yeah. And I'll touch on this a little bit, Mr. Mayor, because we had some questions about some of our procedures and policies. So this is year two, or the 2 to 4 year plan, which is midterm, and we are looking at our policies, our programs, and our ordinances and procedures to update them as fast as we can. That's same thing with our standard burst workforce. As far as the automation, like I said, we're ahead of schedule on that right now. And one thing about the automation upgrades, when we do that, it will allow our codes department to be more effective. I know right now, because we're doing a lot of pencil and paper, some things don't get transcribed or they get retranscribed. So once we get more digital, I think this will facilitate a better interaction with our citizens, not just code, but other areas of the city. It also allows us to retain and I guess keep previous information better than we have in the past. So that's one great thing about that. Research, design, and fund infrastructure priority strategy. I'll be talking about tonight about our SPLOST 2023, and then to implement a long-term financial strategy, which that is part of, and then of course maintain core delivery of city services. And the theme going into the budget cycle this year is going to be divest and invest, and we'll talk about that once we start the budget cycle review. Mr. Mayor, this is the order of presentation, so I'm starting. I will immediately follow by the finance department with the personnel director, Ms. Jackson, followed by public works director, then the finance director, then community improvement director, and I'll finish things off. So, Mr. Mayor, I will say one thing. We did forward the agenda. Did it go out Thursday? Yeah, so if any commissioner has an issue with not on the agenda, you can simply tell me that Thursday once you get in your emails, and I'll make the adjustments. I don't just disregard emails. So that's a Thursday execution. I asked that plenty of times before, and we'll modify the agenda.
Okay. And I understand totally what you're saying, because we all get the works. But what I believe is being said here is that if there is something put in the email, they want it on the list just to look at, even if it doesn't come to the agenda the following day. Mm-hmm. It just I guess it's for work session purposes and information purposes. Mm-hmm. So it's any commissioner, if they choose to add or to send information in, we can look at it as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be followed by Purchase Director, Ms.
Let's
Jackson.
go ahead and finish because I'm coming back to it. Continue.
Okay, followed by Ms. Jackson with bids.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, purchasing has 3 items before you this evening. The first one is for surplus items from the fire department. The fire department has 2 vehicles and 1 trailer that they are taking out of service. The trailer was damaged beyond repair from Hurricane Helene, and the 2 vehicles have become a safety and liability issue because of their age. There was a 2006 Chevy Impala, 2007 fire trailer, and a 2006 fire truck. We're asking that these items be surplus so that we can sell them on govdeals.com.
Okay. Commission, you have heard the presentation given by our procurement officer, and the goal is to surplus these fire engines, and we just need your consent in order to have them on tomorrow's agenda. And I'll start with District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
Very good. You have
The
consent.
second item is for some more surplus vehicles. They are from the Public Works Department. Public Works, about a month, longer than that, a couple of months ago, Public Works came before you asking for permission to purchase several vehicles because we did have some old vehicles and they have now been taken out of service. Those new vehicles are in the process of being processed and ordered. It is a 1996 Ford F-150, a 2006 GMC 8500, a 1997 Ford 660 tractor, a 1999 Chevy 1500. We are asking that these items also be declared surplus so that we can sell them on govdeals.com.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Jackson was presented to us Public Works vehicles, and she gave us an enumerated list of these vehicles, their make and model, and just wanted to make sure that they're surplus on the, is it
Govdeals.com.
govdeals.com. All right, so we're gonna look at your thoughts and your consent, District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
You have consent.
The next item is the finance software. As you all know, we're actually in the process of implementing. We've gotten two major modules up and running at this point, but Tyler has come to us. They had some new modules for our community improvement side of the implementation. And the good part is we have not started that side, and this is actually an upgrade from what we have. With the addition of a fixed asset module, everything will actually be an even swap except for that one module. The cost to us will be initially $1,189, and then the annual fee added on to our total annual fee will be $4,044. But everything else, all the other modules for community improvement, basically will be an even swap except for that one, because that one fixed asset module we didn't have in our original contract. So we're asking if the commission would allow us to amend that contract to add these new modules.
And you're saying that the initial payment is $1,189
For this one module,
for
yes,
that
sir.
one module, and then you say an annual increase of $4,044
Yes, sir, to the total
for
annual
the
cost.
entirety. Okay, so you have an initial price, and then you'll have an annual price. That's what you're
Correct.
mentioning. Okay, and this is just for modification of the contract that it previously was approved.
Yes.
Okay, very good. With that having been said, I look to District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
and District 3,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
You
And
have your consent.
purchasing also has one additional one. With the city manager's permission, I would ask that we go into executive session for that because that is a property.
Okay, good.
That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. City Manager.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I come before you because I have a couple of requests for items that we're in need of that are above the threshold to purchase, so it needs commission approval to do so. And the first one is the mosquito sprayer. The current sprayer that we have is a 2011 London Fog sprayer. It has a bad pump on it, and it's not worth fixing. So we'd be better off to buy a new machine, and that new machine is, excuse me, $15,300 is the quote that we have from our vendor that we've used to buy our chemicals from, and we have that money in a line item that we can use for that. And the other piece of equipment is an equipment trailer that we use to haul around our skid steer, our mini excavator, backhoe, so on and so forth. The current trailer that we have is, these items are overweight for that trailer, and it's old, and as a result of that, it's been damaged over the years for hauling this equipment, so we'd like to buy a new one that's legal, safe to do so. We can get one right here from a company in Waycross, and the quote for that one, it's a 24,000-pound trailer, and it would be $14,900. And we have money in the equipment line item to purchase.
Okay. Very good. So 2 items on this list, number 2 and number 5 on our list, would be the mosquito sprayer quote and the equipment trailer.
Yes, sir.
And what was that price for the mosquito sprayer?
The mosquito sprayer is $15,300.
15,003. So 15,003 and 14,009 is what I'm hearing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And this is within your budget already, or within the amount, but you just have to, because I think it is that no department can go beyond 10,000 without coming to commission.
Correct.
Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
Yes.
So that's why you're here. But the monies are there.
Yes, the money is in the line budget already.
So I'm going to each district to get consent to have that done, to be put on our agenda for tomorrow. District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
You have consent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners.
Good evening.
Ready?
I'm presenting a draft of possible dates to have our budget meetings. The dates I put down they're all Tuesdays, and the B and C would be a new meeting, not the normal 5 p.m. meeting, but they do occur on dates where there is a scheduled 5 p.m. meeting. And the last one is where on this schedule, the final approval would be made during a regular 5 p.m. meeting on a Tuesday. And so what I'm asking if the commissioners will consider this schedule or an alternative schedule so we can get our budget done timely.
Okay. And commission, I'm certain they have knowledge of their own personal calendars, so they can kind of look at it, because these are actually our meeting times that we would be here anyway, is that correct?
The days, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right, so we'll look at these presentation dates. District 1.
Yes,
Is this-
sir.
Okay, District 2,
Mm,
looks good for you.
yes, yes.
District 3,
Come back to me, Mayor.
okay, and District 5.
1 second, Mayor. Please. 17. Yes, I'm good.
Okay. So these are, if I'm not mistaken, looking at them, they are supposedly first and third Tuesdays? With
Right.
the exception of one of them looks like a second Tuesday.
Mr.
Right.
Mayor.
Oh, the first one, A is, that's not a meeting.
Okay.
That's when,
The book is presented.
yes, when we'll
Okay.
send out the book.
Okay.
And
the
so B
brief-
and B
the
and C
hearing.
are new meetings.
Okay, right, so those are
Okay.
first and third, that's good. Any question?
Yes, I
And
have a
so-
question.
Yes,
Regarding the, on May 13th, the budget book presentation,
Right.
have you made any changes from the current budget book presentation?
We're in the process of making changes. We're adding some additions, providing more information to the commissioners and the public with the city manager's help. But the data you're used to getting, you'll get that, but a lot of additional data also.
What we're trying to do, Mr. Mayor, is clear up some of the confusion we had last year with some of the line items not being understood by some commission and some of the public. We're gonna clear that up. and then we're going to tell the story better of the budget, how we got to the budget based off the last 5 years. I know we're going back my 2 years here, but I want to show the previous 5 years. We do have some new software that allows us to do that, so there'll be some graphs, some charts in there, and then some additional history. Also, it'll be straight from the GMA website. This talks about what the budget is, all the accounts, and the whole budget process, just so our average readers or users can pick that book up or look at the digital version online and kind of understand how the budget works. That way we don't have anybody getting information from an uninformed source, which further causes more chaos. I thought it was best to do it this way, so it did take us a little bit longer to get the book prepared, but I want to make sure we cross all our T's and dot all our I's this time, so that the citizens and really the citizens could really understand what a budget is. It is not the same as a budget from a shoe department or school, anything like that. It's totally different. So I want to make sure that that's clearly understood, and also some historical facts in there to why we made certain decisions.
So going back to Commissioner's question, she just wanted to know if there were any changes made already, and you said they're being made, is the answer that you gave.
Correct.
Okay. Commissioner, what are you thinking about with the presentation?
Susan.
Or are you going to say yes to this one, so they can go ahead and make the presentation? So we have all consenting.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. So we've gotten some complaints for the fiber that was being put in on the north side. We met with True Vista last week. It was myself, Patrick, Gary, and the company. We discussed the issues that we were having, the concerns that we were having. True Vista's coming out with a policy on what they're doing, and what we're gonna do in-house is they're gonna send us where they're working on a weekly schedule, and then we'll go out on the Friday and verify that things are being patched like they should be, taken care of like they should be, and if we have any issues, then we'll address those with the company. And there are some other companies that are working there, and we're addressing those with those companies as well.
Okay. Because we've had citizens coming in and or meeting us in stores saying, what is going on, and what is this in my yard, and why are people on my property, kind of thing. So that's been a conversation that I think probably the commission has had along with me and probably city manager and various other functionaries from the city. So I appreciate this, because having updates and having information out, I don't think we can ever over-communicate.
Right.
And I think the more we say, even if people take it the wrong way, at least we have something there and that we can use as an educational tool to teach or to show or to share.
Correct. And they did go live, so we met last Wednesday or Thursday. They went live earlier that week. So they've already got several customers in that area that they've already either hooked up or they were installing the proper stuff inside the person's home. I think they said they already had about close to 400 customers just in the first phase. And they will come update the commission and the public on future phases and where that's going to be and how they're going to do that. So, and this will be bringing fiber internet to the citizens of Waycross.
Okay. Commissioner, did you have any questions of Mr. Hawkins? District 1? And it's in your area too.
That's right, sir. That's exactly right.
I know.
Yes, sir. So, are they moving out of District 1?
So they're still working in some of District 1, and I don't want to get too far into their stuff because of some of their stuff is confidential based on competitors that are also looking in the area. But I think they want to meet individually with each commissioner to kind of share where they're going. But they'll be doing more work, so it'll encompass. Eventually, it'll encompass all of District 1, District 2, 3, 4, 5. So eventually, within the next 3 or 4 years, I think the city will be covered through True Vista. So it's still, they're gonna still expand. Right now, it's a small area, but they're expanding. If that answers that.
Yes, sir. I mean, because like Mayor said, that a lot of the citizens are complaining about the potholes or whatever. And thank you to the city manager by working on those potholes. But I mean, I think you know, if they move out the district without those potholes filled, you know, the citizens will really feel some type of way.
That's why we're gonna make sure weekly that we're out making sure that they're fixing those the way they should be. So we're gonna be behind them. They're gonna send us, like I said, they're gonna send us where they're working for that week, and then on Fridays we'll go out and verify that they fix those patches like they should. And if they don't, then we'll address it immediately with them.
I'm good. Thank you, sir.
District 2.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to know when they come to my district, the dates that they're there, that way I could come, because I like to be hands-on and see what's going on in my district. Just stand back, not involve myself, but just let me know, because I want to see for myself. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. District 3.
Yes, Mayor, also Mark, I've noticed that there are several potholes in District 3. There's one street in particular, that pothole has been there probably over a month, and there's just a bright orange cone that's sitting in that hole, and it's been there for over a month, and no one has bothered to repair it or fix it, and it is a danger to the citizens. So I'd like for that to be addressed along with the other potholes in District 3, along with the roads in Westgate that have not been addressed. Thank you.
And District 5.
I'm good.
So the next item in your packet, you'll see the fireworks agreement. As was mentioned, I think it was the first of the year, right after, or right before the first of the year, with the new construction in Waycross Middle School, we had to look for an alternative location. There were some other locations discussed. I handed out a map right before the meeting that shows the location. So this is basically where Swamp Fest has their fireworks. So they will be doing the fireworks show from that location. It'll still be for the same price that we pay every year. It'll be about pretty much the same show. The only difference, obviously these can't go as high because of the distance fallout requirements, but we'll get more in that show, if that makes sense. So they won't go as high, but we'll get more. So the price is the same, location will change. We will still do, we'll have food vendors set up around the parks, so they can come out. We'll have a DJ that'll be playing starting at maybe 5 or 6 and playing through the fireworks. So we'll still do all of that same stuff. It'll just be downtown, and we're gonna make sure that we get that out in advance if y'all approve the contract, which is what this is. This will be for the contract for the fireworks for this year. And we will do the same as we've done for the last 5-6 years. We'll, Patrick's already sending out notices for donations from businesses. We'll also contact the county to see if they will donate some as well. So we'll try and offset that cost through donations like we have the last few years, and it's been very successful. We've had a lot of businesses donate to that. So,
will there be some kind of form given out for donations or sponsorships for the community?
yes, sir. So always afterwards, we do the sponsorship recognition. Typically, we have little plaques for them based on how much they gave. We do that in the city commission meeting. We'll put it in the paper, on Facebook, as well as our sponsors, and we'll give them some type of plaque and recognition for what they did for us.
District 3, did you have any questions or Mark? And District 5?
No, sir.
Okay. You didn't have it. Okay. District 1?
Yes, sir.
You good?
Yes, sir. I'm good.
So everybody's okay with it?
All right.
Make sure we're clear, Mr. Mayor. We got the session to go ahead and sign the contract. I'll make sure we're clear.
You want me to sign it tonight?
No.
There's a resolution.
Okay, all right.
There's be a resolution
Okay.
for tomorrow.
All right. All right, Mr. Mayor, next we're gonna move into the meter pilot funding, COAs. And there aren't really many COAs. I just wanna give the final update on the meter, on the pilot program. So we did run the pilot program for about 6 months. All the meters, the new meters work perfectly, so I'm very pleased about that. These are some of the integrated costs associated with the new meter system. Right now, because of funding limits, we're only going to replace the 1,700 identified bad meters. So the ones that's working, and I'll get to that, why that's a statement there at the end of this briefing, but we're going to replace those right now. So you see the cost with that as far as the additional setup's going to be a one-time cost of $12,500. We're going to do some training with staff here and some down at ESG. The actual meter is $1,700 and $156 a piece. You see the cost there. On the smart points, which are the transmitters, $170 there. And then that part there where it says installed by contractor right now, I'm looking at maybe doing that with our staff as we do some training. They're not that hard to install. Just looking at the liability and insurance part of that. That's going to save us some money if we do it ourselves. If not, then you see the cost of that. So roughly that's about a little bit over $500,000, and I think it's $585,000. I think I mentioned this before when we first started the pilot program 6 months ago. But like I say, it's been very successful. This will have an immediate return on investment because our meters will actually read consumption and usage, which they haven't for a long time. So revenue will go up. Customer service will be better because we won't have these meter issues anymore that we've had in the past. The only caveat is that we still will have the rest of the meters, and we have about 6,500 meters, 7,500 meters. The rest of those meters will still be the old meters. Eventually, I would like to change all the meters out over time, but that's to be over the next 2 or 3 years. Completely change all the meters out. Right now, it's probably a little bit too expensive, but those meters have been working, so I don't think it's an issue right now. Kind of doing that by phases, and the big part of this is getting on Georgia Power's network or their backbone, and y'all see there, it's about 95% per month per meter, so it's about $23,000. So we are incurring a bill. But the great thing about this this bill, if we build our own network, which we can do over time, we're talking about another $500,000. So right now, with the number of meters we're bringing on board, I think this is the best option to do. It's piggyback on their network. This will give us the same capabilities that they have right now with their system, so customers can be, and our new software, so customers can be identified on usage, leaks, and all those things moving forward. Hopefully we'll never have a problem again like we had since my 2 years here before that with the meters. So kind of want to give you a price. I'll come back to you with this when I verify how that works with the installation with a total price, and I'm going to ask then that the city go ahead and vote on that, which they want to go. The only other choice we have is to do all these costs and then do our own backbone, which we just can't afford anyway. So I want to make that clear to everybody moving forward. Any question, Mr. Mayor?
I have none.
Okay.
The commission may have one. I'll poll the commission. District 1, did you have any questions of our city manager?
No, sir.
District 2?
No, sir.
District 3?
Not at this time.
And District 5?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
On that training under unit cost for 4,000, is that a one-time training deal?
That's a one-time.
Now, once they're trained, they're able to install that possibly?
Possibly.
Install the rest of them?
Well, most of that training is more on reading and data collection,
Okay.
all that stuff. But like I said, I'm trying to work with them right now on the installation part because I just feel like between ESG and some of my public works, we've been installing meters anyway. We can figure that piece out. I just want to make sure we don't break any liabilities or own the meters if we do it ourselves. That's the one question that we have. But again, all this is a great return on investment. Once they're installed, like I say, we'll get away from that problem we've been having for 10 years now with these meters. So that's the silver lining on this. I don't know how long it will take completion wise. Initially it said about 90 days, but that could change based on the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, once we make a decision or when to start, then we'll know the completion date. But that being said, we're very excited about this. Like I said, it's been a problem for quite a long time now. So hopefully this will resolve all those issues, plus the team bringing new software in here. All that is compatible with Tyler. So we have even more features on here that I'm not aware of right now. But we have many, many features with these new meters. I'm just, like I say, it's been a problem for everybody for a long time, so I'm just happy to be resolved.
Okay. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
All right. Next, Mr. Mayor, we move to the grease trap mitigations, COAs. And again, it's not really a COA. This is one of the areas it has took me some time to get back to. Now that I fully understand the scope and scale of the problem within the city. It's one of those things that just kind of dropped off for some time now as well. But what I want to do now is I looked at some other models and I got with ESG, and they provided some other examples from other cities, how they do their grease collection, and also how they manage their grease traps. So in the past, I think, I don't want to be misquoted, I think we'll do the 1,500 gallons standard, I think. I'm not sure the overall size, but that's something we're going to look at as well, because it is pending on if you got a gas station, you got one stove, or if you got a restaurant on the size of the grease traps. I do want to change that policy, so we are looking at those standards right now. But with this grease trap program, what I'm like to do, because I feel like this saves our customers and our citizens money, because we're going to start enforcing this, not immediately, but in the next 30 to 60 days. I recognize it has not been enforced for a long time now, but the grease in the system does have a negative impact on our water. So what we're going to do, I'm going to send a letter out here shortly, just letting all the businesses know who have grease traps. This will be enforced moving forward, and there will be new requirements for managing their grease traps. But I think right now with the contract we would like to do is the city would get a subcontract, and they would pump the grease traps, and then each customer would pay a fee. And that fee would vary depending on, of course, size of the grease trap itself. So you might have a situation where you got to get pumped monthly or quarterly or yearly, and in some cases weekly, depending on what they're doing. But I did talk to some business owners about this already, because if they do the cost alone, they're going to pay at least 4 times that much. If we do a contract, overall for the city, it'll save everybody money, and then it'll ensure that our system stay clean. So this policy has not been clearly defined within our current policies right now. So on your desk right there, you have a copy of, I forgot which city that is, but you got a copy of the whole policy. What I'm doing right now, I'm modifying that policy to put into our handbook, as you want to put into our city policy, and mimic that exact policy almost letter to letter and word for word. And then, like I said, once we kind of put some bids out for the contracts, I'll bring this back to the commission for voting, best contract, and then we'll go from there. And again, Mr. Mayor, I can't state how important this is, that we do start the mitigation of this, just for the simple fact, as you know, walking in the kitchens yourself, we got a lot of grease traps out there that need some major work.
So just a quick question.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
So who's doing this mitigation?
So we will do the grease trap inspections through the ESG and our engineer department, but the company will come and pump all the grease out. It'll be a company doing that.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, because right now,
So are we taking bids for companies, or?
I haven't started yet. I wanted to make sure the commission knew what direction I would like to take. Because right now, in the past, we did not have a forcing mechanism for them to clean the grease trap outside them and telling us they did it, and then we would come back, and of course they had not done it, and we're going back and forth. So that I'm going to get with Hugh. There will be some language in there, hopefully stronger than what's been in the past, about adhering to the rules of the grease trap management. But I feel like we're giving them the olive branch, because we're saving, everybody money by collectively putting it in a company to come pump it out themselves. They do it alone, they're gonna pay a big expense versus buying into this. So
I'm just taking it that you're going to have like an educational time
Yes.
with those persons who do have these grease traps, so that they can be aware before there is and I know you haven't said anything about fines or any of those kinds of things, but just in case there is something to be incurred as a result of their non-compliance to this ordinance or to this particular regulation.
And be clear, Mr. Mayor, we've always had something on the books.
Right, I see.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, even if, things can be on books just like in the Bible, but if people don't read it.
Correct.
And sometimes they read it and don't understand it. I have people here who make they make assumptions, or they give their own interpretations of a thing. And as a result of it, they make wrong interpretations. And then if you start out wrong, then you end up wrong. And I think in many cases, this may need to be clarified for those persons who will be dealt with regarding this.
And Mr. Mayor, if I can, just for educational purposes, for those who might be watching, most of our box chain businesses, you know, our restaurants, our gas stations, they all know how this works. They just been, you know, lucky, and I don't know what word to use, that we haven't really been hitting this like we should have been for some years now. But they'll get a brief period of understanding and clarification, and then they already know this is coming. I've been talking to them for the last pretty much 6 months about this. I just didn't have a good plan formulated, and to the team, they brought it to me about just, hey, we do a contract and they'll save them all money. It should not be issued then, because it's more about enforcement and mitigation versus anything else. They all know what's kind of going on. It's just about the enforcement piece and then the mitigation piece.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. All right, Mr. Mayor. Next, Mr. Mayor, we move on to speed bump discussion. I know many of you have been getting contacted about the speed bumps. Back to the comment earlier about monitoring social media. As I've been interacting with a lot of citizens about the speed bump this weekend. Some of me and some of the directors, we sat on Corridor Z and just watched a few things, certain locations within the city. And I'm going to charge the police department with kind of leading this, as well as the engineering department. But a few things that we kind of, and we've been talking about this for a while. I know y'all have been talking about it for many years before me getting here. But these are some things I want to do because I sat on a particular road and I heard, you know, they tell me all the time people were speeding. And I sat there for a Saturday for about 7 hours. Nobody was speeding, you know. So it's like we got to be, you know, it's got to be a criteria there for that. We can't just see the one person speeding and like need a speed bump, you know, because it's going to cause more problems that way. So Tommy is working right now, the Chief of Police is working right now, Chief Cox, about creating a scoring criteria for speed bumps. And these will be permanent speed bumps. So you gotta have X amount of tickets, or X amount of accidents, or X amount of usage, working with GDOT to that nature, and those probably will get the permanent solutions. So we're looking at that as far as the scoring criteria. We're looking at temporary speed bumps. Now there's a whole bunch of temporary speed bumps, and I still have to check with Huey on legality of putting a temporary speed bump down because I don't want the city to get sued. Like potentially this can happen with these speed bumps. But we did do some research on some of the temporary speed bumps that can, you put the adhesive down, it can last 30 to 45 days. And we will use those to do what I call just spot checking. So we got an area that we need to slow everybody down for a little while, we'll move the speed bumps over there. So that's the plan for that. And then rumble strips, we've been talking about rumble strips for a long time as well. This is probably gonna be the main thing we focus on. Right now, I have Charlie looking at how much that cost is per new street. What we could end up doing is building a rumble strips into our new streets when they go down and put them near stop signs. It's a math and science too. I think they gotta be a certain amount of feet away from stop signs, stuff like that. So he's researching that right now. But that's probably going to be the bang for the buck because they're going to be more efficient a little bit. They're going to cost less. And then, you know, financially, I think we won't have a big issue with them like we do with speed bumps. In other cities have speed bumps. Additionally, looking at the history of Waycross, I know the hospital has voiced their concerns about speed bumps in certain locations. Of course, the police department and the fire have voiced their concern about speed bumps in certain locations. So I am taking all that into consideration. But we got to do something because you know, everybody loves to speed around here, and we just, you know, we only have so many cars out, you know, giving out tickets. And again, we've given out, I now think we 1,000 more tickets than we did the same time last year for speeding. So the police presence is there. I mean, it's there. But like I say, we'll get some of this data collected, and I don't want to say this to the commission right now and think it's going to happen next month or next, 9 days from now, because it's not. It's gonna take some time to figure this out and get the right locations, and then build it in. If it's the rumble strips, to actually build it in to our streets paving program, gonna take some time. But I have been looking at this for a while now, and I want to update the commission on this as well as citizens who might be listening, because we all recognize we got to slow everybody down some kind of way. So this is some of the criteria we're gonna do. As you're aware of too, when GDOT starts assisting us on our major highways with those raised mediums, and also with some construction happens throughout the city, it's gonna make people slow down because you're gonna have certain places you can go because of construction. So that's gonna be for that time period help us out as well. So, and the last part it says permanent. That's just saying if there are certain locations that will need a permanent solution, and the data backs it, then our advisory commission we put it down. Right now, just can't see that. I did talk to some people about like the crosswalks at the hospital, places where everybody go, maybe having a speed bump there, like a permanent one. Fully understand that. Again, we're going to collect the data, do some research, and then bring a plan back to the commission. But I want the commission to know we are addressing this problem. We've been addressing this problem as best we can. Don't have all of the funding required yet to do this. That's why I'm trying to build it in with our paving program, and then with the temporary speed bumps. That's going to average for a 6-foot speed bump, roughly about $2,000. So if you can imagine that. So, and I'll pause there for any questions or comments.
I'll share just one comment. I know that in some of the meetings that we've been having across the state, one of the concerns that fire departments have is that those speed bumps